Let's go back to the start here, and the getaway for Victor.
In the white and green Campos through the middle, and then, I don't know, Martin's on the right-hand side, Boschon coming through the middle, that's Fittipaldi out to our left. He halted 50-50 down the middle of the exit curb, and then out of the race as a result of that contact.
Wreck the car, contact, and race ending for both drivers in your picture.
Had to be out of the race there.
So the Dams team down there, the French team.
Probably only one element of that suspension broken, so they're good.
That is unusual in Formula 2. You don't have the same facility to control alt delete, usually.
Distance to refire the car, you're not allowed to continue. So I suspect Hauger's massively and continued on with the race.
So Hauger circulating, race control, and then contact with the man that's part of that Red Bull Academy directly behind, and Carlin having taken their first win yesterday of the season.
Several stings in the tail, I have absolutely no doubt. Behrman looks to have the grip underneath him though. Didn't make it round to the starting grid, was supposed to be starting right across from his teammate.
They came out of the sport race pit lane, they climbed the hill, that spits you out onto the Kemmels. Don't change the order of the grid, so everyone formed up exactly in the slots that they were meant to, but coming in to the summer break. That's what he was looking for, but does he go all in to try and take her?
Obviously the points differential moves greater as you move towards the front of the field. So for Théo Pourchaire, Formula 3, and so as a result, Théo Pourchaire I think is likely to go for it. Hauger.
It's lap 3 and 25. The championship lead is in the balance, and the race lead is in the balance. You have Oliver Behrman, the part of the Sauber Academy, that engineer the car for Alfa Romeo, and we're now going to fire up those tyres. Remember, the soft tyre, tight, snaking off the road and managing to continue. Here we go. Maloney said, let's be careful. Come together, and that's going to be tight on the restart. Maloney said, let's be sensible, and they weren't.
And that's what they were unable to do so. Down towards Brussels, Fittipaldi off then towards Théo Pourchaire.
And after Leclerc, banging wheels. Oh, and he spun round. Oh, that's
like a right rear puncture there for Leclerc before he spins. So he just
needed to change the circuit, and it was a puncture for Arthur Leclerc, who sees the tyre carcass
on the car.
Tell you what, different first lap this time. First lap of the race proper, brilliant for Behrman. Of the restart, DRS range. DRS has now been enabled, and that could be vital. Certainly the strict.
Fittipaldi over third position. Théo Pourchaire having a go at Oliver Behrman, knows it's a matter of soft tyre as far as they can through it, I would expect, because the track is so green, because the conditions are.
And he's changing the tyres because he's got to, but that is before the
big car is what you're watching. Back to the front of the field, and this is the gap then starting to form back to Fittipaldi.
Really could have grained up quite quickly, that soft tyre. So a couple of laps behind the safety car will not have hurt. Behrman, respect that, is because he was restarted by the marshals, and as we expected, they have flicked through the rule book.
Huge moment of oversteer, huge moment of rear locking for Oliver Behrman as the intensity this year, and almost like what happened to Fred Vest even before the line there for Oliver Behrman and Théo.
Second tier for a long time.
The regulations specifically forbid that action, both at the start.
Over the last 20 years of single-seaters, but for the long time now. Enzo Fittipaldi, who's just set the fastest lap for about a couple of seconds. His teammate, and I imagine into the DRS we go. This looks a good run for Théo Pourchaire. His two nearest rivals in the...
He just doesn't quite have the confidence, does he, to go in 10, 20 metres later than Behrman.
As we descend down the hill, and there's the second part of tour, we head to the chicane. Here's Pourchaire.
I mean, he's looking at it's the moment where you've got to know the guy you're racing as well, in the mirrors of Behrman, and trust that he's going to make a mistake, give you an easy pass on this alternative strategy, and is actually hanging in there, you know, at the back end.
Main contention, you've got Leclerc, who did start on that strategy. He had to switch onto it. Never-ending story of the battle for the lead. You can see on the left, on the right, it is damp, it is greasy, and there's no way to involving Leclerc and Nissany is being looked at as they were banging wheels heading into Eau Rouge.
Into Lecon. It looks like the pace is settled between these two. After on the medium compound tyre, here comes Doohan.
So Doohan has been lining this one up for a while.
Across the difficult wet patch in the middle of Piff Paff. That then being the performance crossover perhaps for Tricky. He did really well to hang on to it and believe that he wasn't going to find a wild Hadjar on the outside.
As we tick back through the field, it's now 8th position for Doohan. Fastest lap belongs to Alfa Leclerc. And put on Hauger making contact at that corner on the first tour.
Fittipaldi now homing back in.
Good response by Fittipaldi, who's trying to hang on and just keep Martins. Carlin went wheel to wheel at Leclerc, and Fittipaldi was able to...
In front of you is Doohan on mediums, so mediums are not the preferred tyre yet, so we keep going.
He's able to do. His next target up the road will be Darubala sitting in 8th place.
Ever since that in-season test, and he was the winner of the feature race here last year, he's looking to make progress on the ultimate.
When you try to get that cold, of course, no tyre warming apparatus allowed in Formula 2, that cold set of mediums.
Terrible when I started the sentence. Over a second, but it's come back, and it's gone back there. So right on the cusp for Behrman in Jeddah. If you do that and let a chance like today when Awasa and Vesti are out, well, that would be...
Here, Pourchaire, if he wants to make the move, and we're getting our first pit callers here. That's someone actually
on the soft tire.
It's much like we saw from Iwasa, wasn't it, in the feature race, where it's kind of the reactive.
Then he put all 4 wheels over the white line. That's the trouble with cold tyres. Alex Todd
racetrack, so yeah, that is an extremely likely penalty as we return to the front of the field.
Behrman chasing his 4th win in Formula 2 today, trying to drive himself back into champ on re-entry to the racetrack. He's in 7th at the moment. Darubala comes in.
On that set of mediums then for the MP car as they make their way out of...
Momentum though.
It's almost like there's some fluid or some oil beyond the general wetness exit of the pit lane, and we have a virtual safety car as a result of the debris, I would expect.
No!
So Isaac Hadjar on
the front brakes, they instantly lock, and just the idle driving through first gear, treacherous down there, has to be the radio message. Very quick virtual safety car, and I suspect that
forced Behrman to put a couple of wheels on the damp part of the circuit. Behrman driving on his mirrors. Pourchaire
momentum through the edge.
Look at Fittipaldi. He's making a 3-car battle out of
restart, because that's brought both of these leading two, as you correctly point out, within DRS range, and it's going to be a...
Context of the championship. Yuma Iwasa knows what an opportunity he had today. Yes, he was 16th on the grid. We've seen drivers count any of the top 5 out in contention for victory here.
Absolutely not. It's going to be a mixed-up race.
As Martins and Maloney challenge their pit crews to a contest. This is going to be really interesting. If they can make it back onto the circuit, they would have been urged for heavy caution there from the teams. And Clement Ricard in your picture, and Josh Mason, who's got the tyres up to working temperature, and Maloney just needs, they did a good start.
I still have the pace. What do you think?
Time's not quick out.
Here, Darubala with those tyres fired up. Darubala, who went to this tyre earlier on, there's going to be a difference. Oh, he's running. Fittipaldi takes the lead of the race on the track.
Massive pressure for the drivers as well. Hit your marks. Do not.
Pourchaire takes the net race lead, but they will have to fire up these tyres. They will have to worry about
Fittipaldi gap. Let's not put us under pressure from Pourchaire as I come in and out of the pits.
We go.
Drops off the jacks. Pourchaire immediately drops the clutch. Behrman slightly slower on that right with Fittipaldi. Let's see if he can come out ahead. I'm expecting he'll be able to do so.
Be fascinating. Yesterday, now finds himself in contention for a double at Spa-Francorchamps. Into the pits he comes. This is a massive stop for Rodin, Carlin, and they can't. Teo Pourchaire goes through to take the net race lead. It's second on the road at the moment. Behrman will get him as well. Cold longer will come back to Fittipaldi, and Maloney is looking to retake that place.
That'll drop Martins a long way down the order.
It got momentary track position up to net race second, but in the end, the reason why. So it's going to be contact, round we go, and it's Juan Manuel Correa fighting against Crawford, both of them off the road, and Crawford out of the safety car.
And Doohan does so we've got Jack Doohan in and out of, in the process in place, slightly slow though on the rear, Jack.
Oh, take a stop that works though, take a stop that works. And they keep it within the lines, and Doohan is up to second position with the timing of that safety car.
What a moment for Jack Doohan.
Looking for safety car intervention, and you have to remember that for the drivers that were out of position in qualifying.
Slightly surprised to be demoted to that position at this stage. What about Novalak, who was on that reverse strategy and went reactively early, what could he have achieved as Crawford still share is capable of letting the lead of the race slip through his fingers. I think he's going to fight for every inch of racetrack.
His race coming to an end. The two American drivers coming together at turn 5 at Leclerc. Well, this stop under the full safety car. The incident involving Behrman and Martins noted for causing a collision. Now that was
on this restart. It's going to be interesting to see how Théo Pourchaire is going to play this. Martins with that set of Crawford up in turn 6.
It's be fascinating, the dynamic between the drivers at the front. Let's show you the live drivers champion. That's where the big points are handed out. And Doohan won this feature race here last year. He knows what to do in this scenario. Théo
Doohan jacket and all his Doohan merch here, because he's desperate for him to take away those points from Théo Pourchaire.
There's quite a lot of that knocking around from the 90s.
I think at this stage in the championship, you've still got to try and take maximum advantage. I mean, there's a long way to go still in this championship. It's not
to get through. Doohan was on pole in Monza last year. Doohan will be believing that he can make a late charge for the title if he can win the race. That's the question for him. Behrman in the lead of the race for
some annoyance, I think, from him. He asked to go longer. The team said no.
In the background, round goes Mason. Mason under the same.
When we say bump start the car, what we mean is get ahead of steam up, rolling, and then you can actually just drop the clutch with the car in gear, and the engine will. Mason, yeah, and he's been caught out by his teammate trying to warm his brakes up, I think. Mason.
Yeah, Mason, like we've got the same thing again today.
And it will be as the result of the restart. Such an important drop of the throttle for treacherous, and that's the difficulty, really, that Doohan's got. The only difficulty that he's got is that main overtaking zone down towards turn 6.
Important win. He's chasing his first trip to the top step since the opening round of the championship. That was in Bahrain. We couldn't be any further from those conditions here. Actually, the soft tyres for Doohan to give him the run. He looks like he's got great traction as we restart this one with just a few laps to go. You can
together the whole race long, to the point where they made contact earlier on in the race. That Invicta Virtuosi for Doohan, though, glued to the racetrack and glued to the gearbox of then for Jack Doohan. This is where all the benefit of the mechanical grip of that soft compound tyre will be as they scoop into the first apex and through the second apex of the final chicane. Defence which have been proving difficult to permeate at the moment.
The problem for Théo Pourchaire is the message on our timing page. It says DRS enabled, and it's going to give a huge... He'll argue he's ahead, but you just can't do that.
Well, that time they definitely did make contact. Is there any damage to the front wing of Oliver Behrman? There will be on the radio to Martins. Let's have maybe within his rights to keep that one with Behrman drifting across the road and making contact.
Yeah, first time didn't see the contact first time, and so Martins will be going, well, I was forced off the road. Nothing he could do. Behrman will...
Down the front straight, down the back straight, another fastest lap for Théo Pourchaire, but Doohan DRS wide open as it will be all the way up the hill to turn 6. This could well be the moment.
Second feature race win in a row.
Stout defence from Pourchaire, millimetres between them as they tried to come back at him down towards the apex of Les Combes, but
still hanging over him, the driver who's currently, there he is, in 3rd position, Oliver Behrman in 4th, and still Zane Maloney not giving an inch to Fittipaldi, and that's bringing for sure back in Carlin of Maloney ahead of Fittipaldi, and then it is for sure, and then Miney now 8th, and the last of the point scorers rounded out by Stanek and Clement Novalak.
Pourchaire, bit of a disaster for the young ART driver.
Yes, real disappointment there. You've got lots of track times being deleted as well, and we will begin the
brakes on and immediately sideways into the inside wall. Massive championship implications for him. He'll bleed 18 points to Théo Pourchaire as it stands, and he will
for 5th position. That's the battle we're looking at as we go through Eau Rouge for the last time this weekend in Formula 2. And we join Maloney, who is under real pressure now.
25 laps here, and a lovely move from Fittipaldi to take back honours there at the front of those two.
We're on the final tour, and once again, Doohan finds himself at the head of the field. Back-to-back wins in the championship, back-to-back wins in Belgium.
critically. Took his time over the overtake. Spent a few laps, didn't he, lining Théo Pourchaire up, Jack Doohan.
On the grid to first at the flag, and he will feel that is some of the luck paid back for the start of the year. His dad is delighted. There's the penalty for Martins that elevates
Sprint to his happiest of hunting grounds, Jack Doohan, at the base of Eau Rouge. He salutes them on what was such a typical Spa race, and he seems to be a typical Spa driver. Really goes for it. Wow, time penalty. Doohan, when I said maiden win to him last week of the season, his eyes glazed.
What is that? Sorry, man. What a fight we had there. Fair play to him. That's how we do it. Good job, boys. Good points for the team.
Fittipaldi's best weekend of the season. A winner yesterday, on the podium today.